The exhibition opening at our Childers Art Space is Art as an Act of Optimism. This exhibition is a retrospective of the #ArtsBundyAtHome initiative launched by Bundaberg Regional Galleries during the COVID-19 shutdown period. This initiative was designed to reach out to isolated audiences and provide an opportunity for artists to share what was happening behind studio doors. The initiative also captured the interest of the general public, with people of all skill levels contributing images of photographs, sketches, sculptures and paintings to social media platforms. So within this space, one of the exciting things we did was develop 2 studio pods, and these are really about reflecting the artists who were part of this challenge, 2 of the artists who are actually really on a daily basis part of the #ArtsBundyAtHome project. One of those artists is Jennifer McDuff, and it's her pod that I'm standing in at the moment. So what we can see is that one of the things that really struck me when I walked into Jennifer's studio was that there was this beautiful couch, and we can see it here in front of us, and on top of it she had all of these amazing little snippets and things that she'd found. It was nearly like a lost and found collective just there in the shelves above it. When you walk in, there's often jugs filled with things that then become part of her still life collective. There's also little self-portraits or portraits of friends, or even characteristics that she might see in people that she then transforms into portraiture. So we can see that in this pod you can see there's some little self-portrait aspects as well. Jennifer is also really well known for her shelf paintings, and we wanted to include one in the pod because they really reflect her studio. So we have this particular shelf painting in the exhibition here at Childers. There's also this amazing photograph, and this actually hangs in Jennifer's studio, and this photograph is actually of one of the shelves that she has in her studio. And so you can see that when I'm talking about this collection of found objects, you really get a picture of what that's like when you look at this beautiful photograph as well. She's played with this sculptural element, and these dolls that we have in the space here were some dolls that she'd created out of found objects, and they sit in the space, and I'm really interested also to see them often pop up in some of her shelf artworks as well. One of the other things that we see often in artist studios, and it's certainly reflected in Jennifer's studio at Woodgate, was just these little drawings pinned to walls, these little sketches, things that they just are part of their practice on an everyday basis. And once again, what we really saw through the #ArtsBundyAtHome challenge was this window into the artist's life in their studios, and I feel that these little studio pods really capture that. The studio pod that I'm standing in now belongs to artist Sue Hutton. So when I visited Sue's studio, what really struck me was that it was just reflected her practice so beautifully. We can see in the studio pod all these tiny little hand drawings. Now these were everywhere. There was a table of little hand drawings in Sue's studio, but they were pinned to notice boards as well, and just everywhere there was this whimsical element that really comes through when you look at Sue's practice. Another thing that you'll see in the pod is this rocking horse. So this has evidently always been in Sue's studio, and so it was important that we also have that in the studio pod, and she very graciously lent it to us for the time of the exhibition. Behind the rocking horse is this artwork, and this is actually an artwork of Sue's that is in our Bundaberg Regional Council collection. We use this artwork as the basis for a Recreate Reimagine challenge, and when people enter the pod they can have a little smile and look at the Recreate Reimagine that happened and was posted online. There's all these other little snippets in Sue's studio that I think really once again reflect the whimsical nature of her work. We can see these little paintings down here, and underneath them are the 2 little characters that actually are reflected in the painted works, and I think these are really there's this beautiful nature of sort of connectivity between what we're seeing here. Some of the other things, this rabbit that is often you'll see in Sue's work, and I'm sure anyone who is aware of Sue Hutton's work would be aware of this beautiful rabbit shape that she often incorporates into them. So when we were in the studio, this little rabbit that's sitting on the floor was part of her studio, and then these were just some sketches and little watercolours that she had done that were sitting on her table. So once again, that building of practice for her as an artist. Sitting next to that on the shelf is an encaustic work of Sue's, and Sue is well known for working in the encaustic medium, and this is a piece that she's been working on, and this little blue and white shoe at the front was the inspiration for the piece that's sitting on the wall. And like when we looked at Jennifer McDuff's studio pod, with Sue's, when we were around the studio, there were these really interesting little self-portraits that were part of it. And Sue had actually shared some of her self-portraits in the hashtag Arts Bundy at Home challenge, and 2 of those little Polaroids are part of the space. And what I love above it then is these little sculptural works, once again out of her studio, that start to reflect Sue and the way that she is and the way that her practice develops. Another really interesting thing about art as an act of optimism is the way that we've used this idea of the Polaroid. So in Instagram you use a square image and it obviously comes up as a Polaroid type of shape. So we've really tried to reflect that in the way that the Polaroids have been laid out around the walls. So the other thing is that they run in a line that's right at a line of sight. So as you walk in, you're looking along and you can see this beautiful line of artworks that are all so different, but also have this tying together of works that were created during the time of COVID, or artist responses to the Daily Art Challenge. So Rob Andrews is a visual artist that lives in Brisbane, and Rob really engaged with our Daily Art Challenge through the hashtag Arts Bundy at Home. And although Rob is well known for his painted works, he's also been working in these really small miniature sort of really recreations of scenes that we could see through his online presence, but also that we have here in this exhibition as well. The Recreate Reimagine challenge as part of the hashtag Arts Bundy at Home was a really fun way for the gallery to engage with the public. We went into our collection stores and arts and cultural staff were asked to choose an artwork that they then would go on and recreate. Our marketing officer Tony Shue chose this Adam Anderson work titled Echo Spies on Intoxicating Narcissists, and she recreated this, as you can see in the Polaroid, with a photograph of herself juxtaposed with the Adam Anderson work. What was then really interesting was that Tony's partner, Raymon Singleton, who's a well-known local artist, then went on to recreate a painting of Tony's recreation of Adam's work. Annette Tyson is another local artist who really engaged with the Daily Art Challenge, as well as sharing images of her own work. Annette also showed images of artworks that she'd seen around the world, or just things that she was doing within her own daily arts practice. There's also one image that I particularly love, which was Annette working with her grandson out in the field doing a drawing, and that is one of the Polaroids that's also part of this exhibition. Emma Thorpe is an artist that's based in Hervey Bay, and Emma does a lot of work on a digital platform as well, and she was again an artist that just really responded to our Daily Art Challenges. And Emma responded with these beautiful little video clips, virtual little digital clips, and they always had something in them that talked about what our challenge was for the day. And so what we've done is we've actually put a number of these clips together, and they are shown on a rotating basis on an iPad wall.